One of the major trends, which I've noticed throughout the course of this conference, mentioned by many of the individuals, the illustrious individuals who got up and spoke yesterday, was a trend towards what they call tokenization or digitalization of the gold infrastructure. In London, as an example, and globally, we are working to digitalize both the gold infrastructure and also, most notably, digitalize gold as an asset class as well. So I think the Ghanaian government and the Gold Board in particular focusing on this is a very smart thing to be doing and very prescient. Secondly, it's also going to solve their responsible sourcing issues, because at some point the world will align around a technology that can trace gold from the mine site right the way through to accredited processing plants and then onto the formal system. And I think that should be our combined goal. So I think this whole entire movement to try and solve for the responsible sourcing of gold in Ghana such that it can enter the formal system, the LBMA accredited formal system, should be the thing the government is doing, and it is. I've been very impressed by what has been said here today. Well, it's probably the biggest subject on my agenda, to be honest. I suppose the two most important things are digitalization and ASGM. And I think the industry owes it to itself morally to correct this issue firstly, treat the artisanal miners as friends because they're not going anywhere, and try and figure out a method by which we can get their gold into the formal system. Now, there are 1,000 tons produced of artisanal gold, estimated from around the world, 350 tons from Africa, 650 from the rest of the world. And we are working on a global program, and which I'm trying to get on the agenda of G20 and G7 at the end of this year, whereby we roll out an unprecedented number of bespoke processing plants that use cyanidation or even more advanced chemical that can hopefully supplant cyanide in the future, such that mercury is no longer used. The yield on mercury, as you know, is low, 35 to 40% of a gold body. But if we can provide easily accessible processing plants for all artisanal miners such that they can extract a 90 to 95% yield, then we will have created the first stage of an immutable supply chain. And lastly, if we can add the holy grail of a technology that can scan rock faces such that the artisanal miners can prove where they get their gold from, we end up with a globally immutable supply chain for artisanal miners, which will be fantastic for them and their communities. Well, I think probably the main ones are, as World Gold Council companies are working in Côte d'Ivoire. As you've heard at the conference, we're working with civil society, the government, and the mining industries over there to try and set up a system that works and can be used as best practice throughout the world. Principally, my contact with African countries is try and create a uniform system whereby the gold can be bought and can be trusted. And in that context, I'm talking to the Zambian government, the Tanzanian government, and a number of others with regard to making it possible for their central banks to buy gold. Zambia and Tanzania and other countries are all signing up to what we call the London Principles, a set of 12 guideline principles that gives them the confidence that they are buying only responsibly sourced gold from the artisanal miners. They do all the due diligence, and it's a wonderful way for artisanal miners to get it into the formal system at a spot sort of price. My key message for me was pretty clear. It was that we as a group of nations, we as a bunch of human beings, should be constantly focused on the human misery that artisanal mining, illegal artisanal mining, can produce. Now, there is a way of avoiding this. There are children in mines, there are children being trafficked, there are women being used by their thousands in some of the South American mines. We need to stop that. That is simple. And if we do not apply ourselves to do that, then we are not the human beings we thought we were. On the one side, there is the economic pressure to get things right. Everybody wants to make money, governments want to have tax, We want to stamp out criminality of different types. We don't want drugs running. But if we achieve nothing else, we should not have children in mines.